Hey there, I am back with another deck review, and today we're going to be looking at Aquatic Kingdoms from Relentless Venture. Helike and Atlantis, two captivating names that echo through history. Helike, an ancient Greek city on the Gulf of Corinth, held a special place as a center of worship for Poseidon, the sea god. But in 373 BC, it met a tragic end. The entire city swallowed by the very waters they held so dear, as it was hit by both an earthquake and a tsunami one night. Now, interestingly, Helike's story may have actually inspired Plato when he crafted the myth of Atlantis. Plato, centuries after the tragedy, wrote of an advanced civilization in Atlantis that also vanished beneath the waves after having angered the gods. The connection between these tales, one from history and the other from mythology, underscores the enduring fascination with cities lost to the depths. Whether real or legendary, Helike and Atlantis continue to blur the lines between fact and myth, leaving us to wonder at their mysteries. And it's those mysteries that inspired Relentless Venture to create their latest deck, Aquatic Kingdoms. I love the theme. I love the ties to Greek mythology, always a favorite theme of mine. And so very excited to check this one out. So let's get right into it. The one we're going to check out is the 2-deck box set. It contains 2 different versions of the deck with, of course, fittingly named Helike and Atlantis. But the outer box is where we're going to start in this one, and it is beautifully constructed. Nice thick cardboard covered with a soft touch material and some nice accents of the red foil here to give you some little shiny accents to the artwork on this one. And speaking of the artwork, it is really stunning. Beautiful line work, of course, centered around the octopus in the center, hinting at some of those mysteries of the ocean. And then the swirling patterns around it kind of remind one of the swirls of water. That red and turquoise really pops against that black background, gives you a really just beautiful imagery. And like I said, those foil accents really pop to life on this one. Just a great bit of artwork, and it wraps to the sides of the box as well. You can see some of those continuing blue patterns. There's the name of the deck, Aquatic Kingdoms, on the bottom, but continues on all 4 sides with the continuation of that pattern, little bubbles there, again, hinting at the ocean theme as well. And then the lower box, or as you flip to the back here, more look at some beautiful imagery. You get 2 smaller octopi on either side of this one with the Relentless Venture copy there in the center. Again, some more of those foil accents on the tentacles of the octopi on the bottom as well. And as you open it up, you'll see that pattern also continues a bit on the inner side of the box as well. Just a beautiful look to this one overall. And I like that it's a nice sturdy box as well to keep the 2 decks inside. And of course, we're going to check out the decks themselves. So they pop right out, and we'll get the 2-deck box aside and get a closer look at these. All right, so I mentioned that this comes in 2 different versions. We have Atlantis here in the dark, and then Helike as the white deck, so a light and dark version of the deck. We'll, of course, get a chance to look at both of them, but let's start off with Atlantis, the more well-known of the 2 cities. All right, so starting with the tuck box, very similar vibes to the 2-deck box that we were just looking at, also done on a soft touch finish and has that same color palette of the turquoise colors along with the red and those red foil accents against black. Beautiful look to it overall. Our octopus friend once again makes an appearance on the cover. Pretty much the same artwork, just kind of condensed that we saw on the 2-deck box. But beautiful line work on this one. The flowing lines like water, just really nice look to it. And the nice red border around the edges, also done in that embossing and foil. So you turn to the sides, there's the name of the deck again, Aquatic Kingdoms. Same thing on the other side with the tentacles on either side. The bottom just has a pair of tentacles where you'd usually see some ad copy, but not on this one. And then the top, more kind of swirling tentacles or waves or shells, whatever you want to call those. And then the back has another beautiful piece of artwork as well, very much inspired by kind of a jellyfish. So you can see the top of the jellyfish and then those tentacles hanging down as well. Really cool look to it. This is, by the way, not the back design of the card, so you get a little bit of extra artwork here on the back of the box. And again, those hits of red foil, really impactful on this one. Also has the kind of custom shape seal here with the name Atlantis at the top. So this is the Atlantis version of the deck. and it's numbered out of 1,000. Interestingly, this one's kind of weird. The way this one's made, the thumb cutout, really tiny. This is like a fraction of the size, maybe half the size of what you see in another deck. But, you know, not too big of a deal. A little bit of a different shape here with a flat bottom to the inner flap here. So not sure if the tuck boxes were made somewhere different than usual, but nothing too distracting. But there you go. You get Relentless Venture there on the inner flap, and then these sort of mysterious circle icons there on the inner flaps done in red foil. You get some nice interior printing to the box as well. Again, kind of the waves and water flowing all the way through against a red background. A beautiful sort of pop of red as you open up the tuck box. So that's the tuck. Really nicely done with the Atlantis version of the deck. But let's check out the cards. We'll start with the back design. And here it is. So no more metallics on this one, no more foils, but still that same beautiful artwork. Features, once again, that octopus reflected on the top and the bottom. Really menacing look with those glowing red eyes, and then the tentacles wrapped all the way around. Those tentacles really do a great job of filling out the space overall. You get the red tentacles and then even more blue tentacles hidden behind. I will say, I wish that the top to the bottom flowed a little bit better. I think this line down the center is a little bit harsh, and for how organic the rest of the design feels, I wish it, you know, it kind of blended into top and bottom. Would have felt a little bit more alive to me, but still some really nice artwork. And because of the way it's kind of shaded here, almost gives you like a 3D effect, like the octopus here on the top and then the tentacles set behind it. So very cool look to it overall. It's on a black card, so you get the black background for the border on the outside. So there's your back design, nicely done. The jokers on this one, just like the court cards, are going to hint at some of the rulers of the cities. So you can imagine that these might be some of the rulers of Atlantis. And of course, they have their own sort of ties to aquatic life, whether they're the waves or the tentacles, or in this case, even a full-on jellyfish forming the head of one of the jokers. Beautiful look to them. They have definitely kind of a bit of an evil vibe to them with those sharp teeth and their kind of devious grin on their face, the hidden eyes. Just beautiful bits of artwork. The turquoise really looks great against that black background as well. That's a really nice combination. But you get the turquoise and the red joker there. So there's your two jokers. One more extra card. This one's just an add card for Relentless Venture and Aquatic Kingdoms. And of course, the octopus fittingly used as the centerpiece of the ad card. And then on to the aces. So no one power ace, but all four of them definitely in keeping with the aquatic themes. Each one with a large pip in the center. So looking at the heart here, beautiful background with the sort of ocean currents, the bubbles, so kind of like the ocean in the background. But then the heart pip on this one kind of formed of the octopus tentacles rising out, or maybe a kraken's tentacles rising up and curling to form the shape of the heart. Really beautiful look to it. Slight customization on the smaller heart pip in the center, and then nice, simple, easy to read ace and heart pip and index there in the corner with a little line just to give you a little bit of extra border to it. All against that black background, which again just sort of helps everything really pop out nicely. So there's the diamonds. This is probably my favorite of the pips. Same background, but this one, the seahorses there, swimming head to toe there within the center of the diamond pip. And then the clubs have the nautilus shells here curled on the side. Another really cool look. Less, no reds on the traditionally black cards, whereas these have that hit of red. These are more just the blues or the blue-greens or those kind of turquoise colors. And then there's your spade pip, inspired by kind of the ocean currents. You can see the water currents there kind of forming the shape of the spade pip. So beautiful quartet of aces there. The number cards all feature a beautiful background on them. So fairly simple pips in the center, one-way pips, but then the background has that same water background and then kind of a monochrome version of the ace pip as the background there. So you can see the large heart pip in the background and then the two smaller pips. And that same background continues and you get those one way. And by one way, I just mean all the hearts are facing the same direction. So more of a unidirectional card than usual, but beautiful look to them. And again, those reds pop against that green really nicely. Here's into the diamonds. You can see my favorite one, the seahorse pips there in the back with the relatively simple diamond pips in the foreground. And then into the clubs. These don't, obviously don't have quite the contrast because the pips themselves are just that kind of turquoise color. So the turquoise against the turquoise sort of backdrop doesn't give you the same kind of impact, but it does have some nice drop shadowing that sort of gives you a nice bit of, 3D effect to it that works pretty nicely. Just not as nice as the red ones. I prefer the red ones a bit. So there's your spade pips with the currents in the background. So there's the pips. And then finally we get to the court cards. And the court cards, I may remember from the Joker, very much the same style, just the face of the character on each one, and it kind of has this stoic stare on each one of them. And so these are meant to, like I said before, represent some of the rulers and things like that you would find in these kingdoms. So imagining some of the rulers of Atlantis, and they incorporate the element that was used on that spade pip. So if you remember, the ace of hearts had the tentacles, and so the tentacles are all kind of woven into the hair of all three of the courts. And then as you get into the diamonds, you'll see a seahorse almost serving as like a headpiece for each one of them. But love the determined look on their faces. Would have liked to have seen maybe some slightly different poses. They're all just, sort of a side profile of the face. But the different headgear and everything really just gives each one of them a bit of different life. So the Nautilus here, obviously the main element on the three clubs court cards. And then finally the spades, which feature, starfish here. And then of course the bubbling currents of water as well, forming their hair. Beautiful look to it. Once again, just like everything in this deck, I really prefer the ones that have the hit of the red in them to the ones that are just all blues. These feel a little bit more monochrome to me, but that black background really helps to kind of bring everything to life. So there it is. That is the Atlantis version of the deck. Now, of course, there are two different versions. So let's get the Atlantis aside and check out the Helike version of the deck. Now, this one is the light to the dark of the Atlantis version. And personally, I don't like the light as much as I like the dark. That white with the black there definitely has some nice pop to it, and the red does look really nice on this one. But this one feels just a little bit flatter. That black and the turquoise is really tough to beat. So definitely this one definitely has more comic book vibes to me with that black and white there. But the same artwork all the way around as the other one. Does have the seal as well. So this edition, also 1,000 of them. Nice touch, by the way, that if you get the 2-deck set, they give you a matching pair. So always nice to see that. Always prefer to have the matching. As you open it up, has that same red on the interior of the box and those same hits of red foil all over it. And the cards also have a similar color change to them. Here's the back design. This one features some silvers, kind of an almost metallic, not a super shiny metallic, but some nice silvers to go with the red there. And again, kind of gives that much more monochrome vibe to the whole thing. And the cards themselves bring in a lot more silvers to go with the black. The red's still a nice welcome pop of color on these. Looks a little bit more orange on this one. I think it's the same color, but it looks more orangey to me on these. But otherwise, the same artwork as you go through the cards, just the different colors changed on this one. I will say I do like the silver background quite a bit on these. I think it looks good against the white. But not too much different on these other than the color changes from the previous one. So there's the black pips now are turquoise, and I will say the turquoise pips against the silver do pop a lot more nicely than they did on the previous deck where it was turquoise against turquoise. And then here's a quick look at the court cards. And again, like I said, these just look a little more flat, not in a bad way or anything, but when you've seen the Atlantis version of the deck, this one doesn't hold up quite as much. Although both of them, I think, are beautiful decks in their own right. Anyway, that is the look at Aquatic Kingdoms from Relentless Venture. Two really nice versions of the deck, but if it hasn't been clear all the way through, if you had to pick one of them, I would go with the Atlantis version of the deck. I think that one's just the superior version. But overall, a nice pair of decks, a beautiful theme, and some fantastic artwork to bring it to life throughout the two decks. So if you like what you see here, go check out the link in the description. I put a link to the Relentless Venture Etsy store where you can go check these out and consider picking one up for yourself or picking up both. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this one, and make sure to subscribe for more deck reviews, more unboxings. Let me know what else you want to see, and I'll see you for the next one.